All right, here we go, guys. We've got some more information on the next Monolith Soft slash Xenoblade game because they are gearing up for something. We all know that they are. In my video that I did recently on the Xenoblade Chronicles 4 update, I talked about what Takahashi and co had to say about the next game and if the series would continue and what they're going to do. There was a little bit of information in there when it came to the Nintendo. It was the Ask the Developer section before Xenoblade Chronicles 3 launched back in 2022. So we know about that, but I wanted to expand upon what they had to say. Now we have some new information that came from the recent art book that has been translated, or at least that's what I think it is. We're going to get down to the bottom of this because this is an actual big update for the next Monolith Soft game. So let's go ahead and jump right into that, plus a bunch of other incredible RPG news. But before we get into it, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get the latest Nintendo Switch and RPG news. Now let's go ahead and jump right into it here. This is the headline: Nintendo Life is writing, and they state that the next Xenoblade will be, quote, vastly different, says Monolith Soft director, which we did hint at a bit in my video that I made about Xenoblade Chronicles 4. They are going to be doing something pretty drastic, but what is it going to be? Well, we're going to get down to the bottom of it, or at least we're going to try to here. So, a game that doesn't take on new challenges also has no future. Some more hints there. So, developer notes from Xenoblade series creator Monolith Soft director Tetsuya Takahashi have been translated and shared online, and they reveal an interesting take on the future of the series, that the next game will be vastly different from previous entries. Now, the message comes from the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 limited edition soundtrack, yeah, not art book, my bad, soundtrack, and has been translated by Mira via My Nintendo News, a blog dedicated to translating and looking into Xeno meta series. I gotta check that out more, which includes Xenosaga and Xenogears, which are both also created by Mr. Takahashi, which we do have videos talking about how I do think that Xenosaga is coming back. There is a lot of information out there that shows that we could get a Xenosaga remaster, so I'll have that video linked for you guys in the description as well. Now, the soundtrack comes with a booklet that includes the message from Takahashi, but unlike the Trinity box, the notes here are only included in Japanese. Mira's translation then shares some insights on the music of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Specifically, the director talks about this when he's reflecting on the game's big song, Carrying the Weight of Life. Actually, one of the most incredible compositions that I have ever heard in a video game. Jeff Keighley and the people that vote on music when it comes to the Game Awards, you guys have no taste in music. That's all I gotta say. Now, let's continue on here. And the game's theme of not be afraid of change and walk into the future. He talks about why he chose to use the iconic track only twice in the game. Quote, when it was fitting for the situation and when it felt suitable to me. Personally, it's a compromise between service and goal. Now, that was a big thing with a lot of fans out there because they're like, man, it's only used twice. Why wasn't it used more? Such a good song. But I think that if you overuse it, obviously it loses its value as what it's trying to convey in you. Would have been nice to have it a couple more times, though, I will admit. Now, Takahashi then follows up these comments by looking ahead and using that theme of change to look into the future of the series he's worked on for over 10 years. Quote, rather than playing on defense, going on the offense, change rather than maintain. This is a stance that I have continued to hold for 30 years. If there is another Xenoblade, it will likely be something vastly different from what came before, in style and in music. I would like to make my next goal something that will betray everyone's expectations in a good way. Now, what could this vastly different be? There was the same type of look that was consistent across Xenoblade 1, Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 3, Future Connected, Future Redeemed, and even Xenoblade X to a degree, but not quite as much. The balance of what they're trying to do here is very interesting. Are they going to go with the more of a fantasy setting for Xenoblade? Does something happen to the world to where it changes how the weapons work, how people work, how magic works? all of this stuff could happen based off of the crazy ending, not going to spoil it, from Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Future Redeemed. Now, Takahashi, there's a bit more here, Takahashi does admit that striking a balance between, quote, a way to reveal your work and a way to service users is one of the most challenging parts of game development, and his reflections on Xenoblade 3's themes reveal his thoughts on that. I do think that Monolith Soft has a couple of projects cooking. We know about that new IP or new game. The only issue is that game something different? Did that game become something different? Did it get canceled? Was it something they were working on separately? Is it just something that's not associated with Xenoblade? Or is it the next big Xenoblade? It's hard for me to say that that new IP with that lady and the fantasy and the other art that was shown is a Xenoblade game. They were recruiting for that for so long ago. Now, maybe it is, it definitely could be, or it could be a completely new Xeno something. Maybe it's a side story to it, or it's a parallel story to the Xenoblade franchise. We just don't know. Monolith Soft has over 250 employees. They have multiple locations, and they've shown that they can work on a game as big as Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with a staff of around 40 to 50 people or so with some outside help. So it's not like Monolith Soft doesn't have the people, the manpower, the resources to have a game that's different, and then also have another game, a bigger game that's like the big Xenoblade 3 or Xenoblade X or Xenoblade 1, like they've done in parallel to what else they're doing. I think that there's multiple projects here. Now, when it comes to the next Xenoblade game, I think, yeah, you kind of have to change things up. You have to make things fresh. And I think that the Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo's new system is going to be where they reveal something massive that they're working on. Now, I do think it's going to be very similar, if not the exact same, to what Nintendo did before with the Nintendo Switch. Now, Nintendo, they like to try new things, right? They're one of the innovators of the direct presentation. Heck, they are the person who created that. Now, there's been forms of that before, but not in the way that Nintendo did it. So they innovated it and modernized it for a new age of online streaming and going directly to the viewers. It's pretty much their creation for the most part. So I think that has garnered so much attention, and that to me is what got Monolith Soft to kind of be bigger. When they first showed off Xenoblade Chronicles 2 at that Nintendo event, it was on from there. Then they really showcased it more at E3. It had its own direct, and it really did help out. So I do think that the next time that we see that Monolith Soft logo, that next big game, it's going to be at a Nintendo Switch 2 event. And out of all of Nintendo's developers, I would say probably the Zelda team, but Monolith Soft for their games, they probably need the next system more than any of the other developers at Nintendo. But Monolith Soft to me is one of the developers that can take a system that's more powerful and do 10 times more than what you can think it could do. It can punch well above its weight. We saw what they did with the Nintendo Wii, with the Wii U, with the Switch. They did stuff that no other developer was even close to doing when it comes to open world games on the platform with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, in addition to Xenoblade games. So that expertise is really going to go a long way for Monolith Soft. So I'm excited to see what they do here and for how different it's going to be. But I would expect that to be at the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation or at a big direct for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing here. From one incredible RPG series to another, we've got a big update on Granblue Fantasy Relink. Yes, this game that's been in development for a long time, went through a couple different developers. Platinum Games was involved with this title at some point, but it's finally launching next year. We got a delay to February 1st, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, considering the lineup that's coming out this year, it might be a good thing. We got pre-orders that dropped today or recently, more like it. So Granblue Fantasy Relink will launch for the PS5, PS4, PC via Steam on February 1st, 2024. Publisher Cygames and developer Cygames Osaka announced standard, deluxe, and collector's editions will be available. Pre-orders have already begun once again, and the trailer that they showed off at the Gamescom opening was pretty good. I gotta give it to Keeley. At least he tries to get some of the Japanese RPGs and stuff in there. That's been the criticism with some of his shows, that it's really Western, dude bro focused, major game focused, and you're not really going after some of the different styles of games. So he was able to get a new trailer, get the release date. That is a good get for that type of presentation. Now let's go on to the game. I just want the game. We can talk about how good the game looks. We can discuss how awesome it is. We can talk about how the graphics look. We can talk about the release platforms, PS4, PC, PS5. Let's take some notes, Square Enix. No, I'm just joking with that, but I think that this game is going to be awesome. I think that it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be around what we'd expect from a Tales of Arise, that type of style in terms of the game. But to me, it looks a little bit better when it comes to the combat mechanics and what you're doing in the game. So I do love what they're doing here. It's going to be early next year. Let's see where it stacks up against Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't know where, or I don't know when, more like if that game is coming out. I hope there's enough time in between these two games, because we know that it's early 2024 for FF7 Remake, Rebirth, whatever you want to call it, Remake Part 2. It's early, but this one is dated for February 1st, 2024. Granblue Fantasy Relink. I'm excited for the game. It's been a long time coming. I think I've been talking about this game for the last 5 or 6 years. It's been in development for a long time. So it's finally got dated. We're gonna get something, just a bit more, February 1st. Get those pre-orders in. And of course, the trailer is looking amazing. Maybe, just maybe, have a Switch 2 version of this. I think that would be really good, especially for more of those portable sales, the Japanese audience. I'm expecting Switch 2 to fly off the shelves in Japan. So maybe they can get a Switch 2 port going for this one as well later down the line. Now let's go ahead and move into the next big piece of information here, and that is Sea of Stars. We've got a physical edition launching early 2024. I am 8-bit on the case, so you will get it in a decent amount of time and not like 3 years later, like some companies. I'm sorry, I had to say that. So I Am 8-bit will release a physical edition of Sabotage Studio developed turn-based RPG Sea of Stars early 2024. The companies have announced. Now, further details were not announced, but a promotional image that you guys are seeing right here with the announcement showcases of the PS5, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and Switch package art. Now, it's unclear if there will be a physical edition for the PlayStation 4, which is interesting because if someone wants a PS4 version physical, that version's more useful than a PS5 version physical, because the PS4 version can be played on PS5 via backwards compatibility and on PS4, whereas the PS5 version can only be played on the PlayStation 5. So it actually makes a little bit more sense to make a PS4 version of the game, because I doubt the PS5 version is going to be much more enhanced over the PS4 version. I mean, yes, maybe a bit, but I understand where it doesn't have like that smart delivery, because the Xbox version is Xbox One and Xbox Series X, so maybe they just want that 4K version, that real 4K version out there as the physical editions compared to the PS4 version having a physical. But it seems to me like the PS4 version would be more utility, but hey, it is what it is. So if you have a PS4, you know, you're out of luck if you want a physical edition. Go get a PS5, get it on Xbox, or get it on the Nintendo Switch. But remember, guys, the Xbox version, it's not a real Xbox Series X version. It's smart delivery, so therefore it's a real Xbox One version of the game that you download the update for the Series X version. So really the Switch version and the PS5 version, if you want them actually on disc, but the Switch version runs off the cartridge where you spend no memory outside of the save file. So I'm gonna get the Switch version of the game. That's probably gonna be the most complete version of the game in terms of having a real physical. So the Switch version for me, but whatever version you go with, it's awesome. But it's coming out next year. The game is actually dropping on August 29th, so it's gonna be here. We're gonna be playing it if you're not already playing it. I know I'm going to be playing it quite a bit, so I'm excited for the game. It's coming to PS Plus, it's coming to Game Pass, it's coming to Switch, it's coming to everything. So there's no excuse. This Chrono Trigger inspired old school 16-bit RPG. Euphoria is going to be here, and it's going to be really good. The game is awesome. If you haven't checked out my gameplay, make sure you check it out. Link in the description below. I'll have that for you guys. You can just look it up on the channel, Sea of Stars. I have my demo gameplay. It is really good. Some really challenging combat in the game. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the last topic here that we're going to discuss, and that is Sonic Superstars, October 17th. We got a brand new trailer showcasing online multiplayer, but not exactly what you're thinking maybe. So Sonic Superstars will launch for the PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam and Epic Game Store on October 17th, Sega has announced. And the newest trailer for Sonic Superstars showcases more gameplay from Sonic's upcoming adventure, including deeper looks at local co-op and battle mode. Play through the entire campaign with up to 3 other players in drop-in, drop-out local co-op, or challenge up to 7 other players online or 3 other players locally in a new battle mode. So let's talk about that just for a bit. So the co-op in the game, like where you're playing through like the single player adventure, like the adventure mode, that is local only. There is no online for that. However, there's a separate mode that's like a battle mode where you can go online and play against your friends. So it does have online, but it's not the normal campaign. It's a specifically created mode, battle mode, for you to play against your friend. That works for this type of game. So I'm glad that they created something else, because, you know, some people might get upset that there isn't any online play at all in a multiplayer game, like people are getting upset with Mario Bros. Wonder. At least we don't know if that's the final thing. There's some talk about that, but once again, that'll be a video for a different day if something else gets announced. Now, there's also deluxe editions and standard editions that have a bunch of different stuff in there. You guys can check out the link, be over on Gematsu if you guys want to see what goes into those. And of course, the new features, new spin on classic Sonic, play as your favorite characters, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds, more friends, more fun, and of course you can battle your friends down as well in the battle online modes. So overall, looking good for Sonic Superstars, October 17th. The game is coming out within 3 days of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, in addition to Spider-Man 2. So it is going to be a packed week or so. There are a lot of big games coming out in October, so I'm looking forward to the busy holiday gaming season. And I do want to give you guys just a little bit more of a heads up. I will be streaming video games more on my Twitch page. So if you guys want to check out my Twitch page, PlayerEssence, I'll be streaming more video game gameplay and keeping the talk show stuff on here. But most game stuff will probably be on the Twitch page, PlayerEssence, link in the description. So what do you guys think about everything that we discussed here when it comes to the next Xenoblade, the next big Monolith Soft title, Granblue, Sea of Stars, and Sonic Superstars? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out our other RPG and Nintendo Switch videos right here, plus more. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for the next one. Peace.